Season kicks off 3 weeks from tonight. So I've asked my crew for 3 bold predictions. Harry, let me start with you. Give me a bold prediction for the upcoming season.
The Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room will be an asset and not a liability to the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. I really, truly feel that way. I know things probably didn't start off on the right foot when you look at the preseason, but I think at the end of the day, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields will have a productive season this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers and help guide this team to where they want to be.
Okay, I like it. That's a good prediction. D-Wood, give me a bold prediction for 2024.
Davante Adams getting traded to the Jets by Halloween. Listen.
That's not bold. Come on. That's not bold.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, anyone who saw that, what was it, Receiver on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, you saw, how Davante Adams is when he doesn't get that good quarterback play? Who do you got over there? Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
You hear that, McAfee? Davante Adams to the Jets by Halloween. Remember where you heard it first. All right, one more. Kmart, give me a bold prediction.
All right, Grinny, unlike Damien, I'm actually going to be bold with this one. How about Mike McCarthy gets fired midseason?
Oh.
Not that I want that to happen.
Wow.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I don't want that to happen.
Wow.
But we're talking about, is Jerry Jones all in? Is he ever going to show that this is the moment? This is the time where he's going to make people uncomfortable. If this season doesn't get off to a good start, Jerry needs to cut bait with somebody.
That's fascinating because, and Harry, you're making a face. The time you would think to do that would have been when Dan Quinn was on his staff, who everyone knew was going to be a head coach, or even when Kellen Moore was on his staff, who people thought were trending towards being a head coach. I like this bold prediction. Harry, your reaction?
Yeah, I want to know if Jerry has the guts to do it. If things aren't right with the Dallas Cowboys and they have a terrible start, is he bold enough to do it? Does he have the grapefruits to let go Mike McCarthy? Now, I'm not petitioning for someone's job to be taken, but if things play out the way, they might be trending right now, if the season isn't starting off correctly for the Dallas Cowboys, is he bold enough to do it?
Well,
is Jerry bold enough to do it?
I can tell everyone, just to give you some behind the scenes, D-Wood was having trouble with his audio. He couldn't hear Harry. I'm not joking around, so I will tell you. Harry asked the question, does Jerry have the grapefruits, and that's the term he used, to make that midseason change if it needs to be done? Yes, I found it funny, too.
Okay, yes. Does he have the grapefruits? Okay, I like the way he put that. That's out there.
He doesn't do it.
If you make a move, that means the Cowboy season has been just catastrophic.
Right.
Awful. You pulling the plug on,
because he didn't pull the plug in the offseason when everybody's like, well, Belichick is out there, Vrabel's out there, who could he bring in? And no one seems to know where the Cowboys are going.
Yeah.
What is the future? Is Dak going to be the guy? Is CD what are we doing?
Let's analyze what that is getting at. Okay, let's take that. That is obviously a very bold prediction, and it's fun.
Do not want it to happen, people.
Right. We ask you to make them bold, and so that's all good. But what it is presupposing is something that could happen, which is the Cowboys could be bad, right? The Cowboys, every team in that division has gotten better. In some cases, markedly better. Look around the rest of the conference. We see Green Bay on the come, Detroit real good, Atlanta, Harry's all excited about their acquisition yesterday. Yep. The Bears are a young team on the come up. The Rams are still good. Are we living in a world, forget about whether they fire the coach or not, because we get that's going to skew everyone's perspective. Are we living in a world where you think when we get to midseason, we're going to say, you know what, the Cowboys just aren't that good a team?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think the Cowboys are a lesser team now than they were in 2023. I mean, you got questions along the offensive line. Who's running the football? Who's the number 2 wide receiver? On the defensive side, you still got pieces that you got to replace. Dan Quinn's not there. So there's a lot of questions as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys. And again, their main competition's gotten better.
Yep.
Philadelphia's gotten better. You know what I mean? Like San Francisco is San Francisco. San Francisco is San Francisco. Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, the Rams, all these things. Seattle, I don't want to forget them either. All these teams got better.
Are we in a world, Harry, where you could see the Cowboys not making the playoffs this year?
Oh, of course. That's why I think the the way they start the football season, I think it's very important. That's why CeeDee Lamb getting to camp as soon as possible is imperative to them at least trying to have some success this season. If he's not there, then and being an integral part of their offense, then who are they resorting to offensively? Who is the dynamic playmaker? Who is the explosive guy? And they're so one-dimensional, and they lean on CeeDee Lamb for just about everything. He is the offense, in my opinion. If he's not there for week 1 versus the Cleveland Browns, when you have a team that told us last year versus the Cincinnati Bengals in game 1 that they didn't care about Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, they were going to play man coverage. When you have those shuffling pieces on the offensive line and you got to go against Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, like, what are you going to do offensively? But also, here's something I don't think a lot of people are talking about. Even though I love Mike Zimmer, and that's one of the toughest defense I played against in my career, there's a whole new defensive system going into place. Dan Quinn is the head coach for the Washington Commanders, so that's another component that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. How is that defense going to be in a new system?
It's a fascinating way of looking at it. And again, Kmart, you kind of got us there a roundabout way, but it's a fascinating one. A lot of people were waiting for Stephen A. Smith to come back from his vacation. I was one of them because we heard all this talk. There's been so much conversation about particularly CeeDee Lamb, but also Dak Prescott and all the moves that the Cowboys haven't made, either with bringing in other players or paying their own. And Stephen A. Smith came back from his vacation yesterday on First Take and had this fascinating thought about the owner of the Cowboys.
Did it ever occur to anybody that the time has arrived where we could legitimately ask, what is Jerry Jones' definition of winning? Is it headlines? Is it that you're worth $10 billion? Is it that you're winning back pages? When you look at the Cowboys, because of the quote-unquote mismanagement, it appears to make no sense unless if you're Jerry Jones and they talking about my Cowboys, then that pub does make sense. That might be, one could legitimately ask, and that's my buddy, but I could look him in the face and ask him to his face, is your definition of a championship winning headlines? Because at this point, that's what appears to be the case.
It is really interesting. Look, no one questions, and I'm sure Stephen A. doesn't question, would Jerry Jones like to win a championship? Yeah. Of course he would. Everyone wants to. But the question is, has he proven himself willing to go the extra mile, particularly financially, in ways that other owners have, to try and achieve that? The answer to that question is no. The growth in the financial piece, the worth, the value of his franchise has been exponential, unlike anything that we've ever seen in the history of American sports. He's done that brilliantly. I can demonstrate it for you right now on a graphic if you would like to see it. He bought the team for $140 million. That included the stadium in 1989. It's now worth $10.3 billion, and that number only figures to continue to go up. He is a huge part of the reason for that. He is a huge part of the reason for the enormous growth of the National Football League in general during his tenure. He is rightfully in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which not many owners are for that reason. So there are any number of ways to praise Jerry Jones and show respect to him because he is a person deserving of that. That said, the question of, is winning his first priority in the way that it is for some others is a fully legitimate question to raise.
It is absolutely a fully legitimate question. And I brought up last hour, is Jerry Jones willing to make people uncomfortable with the Dallas Cowboys organization? Because it seems like for the past 30 years, this organization has kind of been sleepwalking. People are very comfortable wearing the star with the Dallas Cowboys. We've talked about, what have we been talking about all offseason as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys? The fact that they have a lame duck head coach. The fact that their quarterback is going into the last year of his deal. He's about to be an unrestricted free agent. The fact that CeeDee Lamb wants to get a new contract. Could we make the case that Jerry Jones is making people uncomfortable in order maybe to try to spur on the Dallas Cowboys to reach their possible potential here? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Listen, we've been hammering the Dallas Cowboys for the lack of moves that we see other organizations are making. All I'm saying is, hey, Jerry Jones might be trying to shake the tree here and just make people uncomfortable within the Dallas Cowboys organization.
I get it. To this point, he hasn't shown himself to want to do the uncomfortable things necessary to win a Super Bowl. But my argument would be, if you have to make your head coach uncomfortable, then that tells me that in the offseason, you should have made a move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like the idea of having your head coach feeling uncomfortable. It's like, no, this is our guy. Same thing with our quarterback. This is our guy. Now let's roll.
At the end of the day, this is a team that didn't win a playoff game last year, and there isn't any obvious reason to think they should get better than they were a year ago. Yeah. They may take a step backwards. They may not. But I haven't seen anything obvious that suggests they should get better. Quick final word, Harry, go.
It just amazes me because if the Dallas Cowboys, Greeny, are able to make a Super Bowl or actually win one, can you imagine what the organization will be worth after that? It'll be astronomical. The numbers would jump so high, it'll be unbelievable. I would also say when you look at the last 10 Super Bowl winners, you don't see any of those owners acting the way we see Jerry Jones on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, he is a unique figure in sports today, frankly, and certainly in the NFL. In some ways, it has worked extraordinarily well, and in others, a little bit less so. Coming up, we might have a little bit of an outside-the-box idea of what direction they might go for a coach if they do make a change.
Sẽ sử dụng bìa màu để làm ấy thì nó rất là dễ dán nên mọi người dùng keo gì cũng được nhé. Ở đây mình đã chuẩn bị 4 màu sắc bìa như thế này: màu vàng, màu xanh, màu hồng và màu trắng. Mình sẽ kết hợp 4 màu sắc này lại với nhau. Mình tạo ra được một cái quạt thật là đẹp nhé. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ bắt tay vào làm. Đầu tiên để làm quạt thì mình sẽ sử dụng compa. Mình vẽ một cái hình tròn lên đây nhé. Mình vẽ lên. Kích thước tùy ý, mọi người thích cái quạt to thì sẽ vẽ hình tròn to và ngược lại nhé. Đây mình vẽ hình tròn lên đây. Rồi, bây giờ mình sẽ tiến hành mình cắt nó ra theo đường đã vẽ. Mình đặt kéo vào và mình cắt một đường thẳng trước. Đây. Mình cắt như thế này để cho nó gọn, nó dễ cầm và dễ thao tác hơn. Sau đó mình sẽ cắt cái hình tròn này ra nhé. Mình đặt kéo vào và mình cắt uốn lượn theo hình đã vẽ. Cứ cắt lần lượt cho đến hết. Để tiếp tục cắt ra. Khi cắt hình tròn thì mọi người sẽ cắt cẩn thận và từ từ cho mình để cho hình tròn được đều và đẹp nhé. Mình tuyệt đối là mình không cắt ẩu cắt vội đâu. Tại vì mình cắt ẩu cắt vội thì cái hình của mình nó dễ bị méo, bị lẽm, nó sẽ xấu. Để mình cắt từ từ ra. Tiếp tục cắt. Còn một chút xíu nữa là mình sẽ hoàn thành rồi. Mình tiếp tục cắt ra. Rồi mình sẽ bỏ phần dư đi nhé. Mình được cái hình tròn như thế này. Đó chính là cái phần quạt của mình ấy. Nên là mọi người thích cái quạt màu gì thì mọi người sẽ cắt hình tròn màu đó nhé. Bây giờ mình làm phần tay cầm. Mình sử dụng luôn cái phần bìa dư khi mình cắt hình tròn. Mình dùng làm tay cầm. Mình sẽ sử dụng thanh kẽm làm hoa. Mình đặt vào một góc. Và bây giờ mình sẽ cuộn tròn nó theo cái thanh này. Đây mình niết mình cuộn tròn vào. Cứ cuộn lần lượt. Đấy, cuộn từ từ lần lượt cho đến khi mình cuộn hết cái dải màu này. Tiếp tục cuộn. Xong rồi bây giờ mình sẽ bôi một chút keo vào. Để mình áp vào, mình dán cố định nó lại nhé. Mình áp vào. Đây mình được cái ống giấy rỗng như thế này nhé. Mình bóp bẹp một đầu. Bóp bẹp một đầu. Bây giờ mình sẽ bôi keo vào và mình dán vào. Áp vào chính giữa cái hình tròn này. Mình ấn xuống cho dính thật là chắc. Rồi mình được một cái quạt cầm tay rất là xinh. Một cái quạt cơ bản nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ tiến hành mình trang trí cho nó để cho nó được đẹp hơn. Đây mình sử dụng những cái